In this video, we will determine if a statistic or a claim is misleading and how to do that. So let's start with an overview of how to identify misleading statistics and the types of statistics that can be misleading. So statistics can be misleading because the sample is biased. Okay, so if the sample is biased, we know that this might disrupt the accuracy of the results. So bias can come in a few different forms in a sample. So the sample could not be representative of what you're trying to make a claim to the population. The sample could be too small. The sample could be self-selected, so people opt in to the sample. The sample could be self-funded or be a self-interest study. So these are done by some organizations in order to support a claim that they want to prove. Bias can also be present in the phrasing of questions. So here are some ways that our samples can be biased. So what other ways can statistics be misleading? They can be misleading if they contain an outlier. So an outlier is just a data point that is far enough away from the other points, maybe above or below, and this can make our analysis look different than if it didn't contain that outlier, and therefore make it look misleading. Statistics could be misleading because the data is inaccurate or incomplete. So sometimes when we give data to the public in many different forms, we don't always look at what the baseline is. And this could be, on purpose or not. So that would be an example of incomplete data, that you don't have the whole picture. So another way statistics can be misleading is because statistics are displayed improperly. So oftentimes in graphics, we can skew the way things look by not showing the whole picture, by skewing the X and Y axes, things like that. So keeping the scale or showing the whole scale is important because it shows the whole picture instead of skewing what you want it to look like. Statistics can also be misleading because statistics contain some sort of calculation error. So that can come from when you analyze things, you're using the wrong formula or you're not taking everything into account. So here are ways that statistics can be misleading. So we're going to use these to answer some questions about whether or not statistics are misleading. So our first example says that 4 out of 5 dentists recommend our toothpaste. How can this statistic be misleading? So I encourage you to pause the video, take a moment, look at these, and answer how you think this statement, 4 out of 5 dentists recommend our toothpaste, is misleading, and write down some responses. And play the video when you're ready to check your answers. So one way in which the statement 4 out of 5 dentists recommend our toothpaste can be misleading is the type of study it is or the type of sample. So one, this is a self-funded or a self-interest. I guess we don't know where the funding came from, so we'll say it's a self-interest study. So this brand of toothpaste is looking to support their claim. So this could come in the form of question bias, where they just only ask, do you recommend our toothpaste, yes or no? So they're not really collecting information as a whole without bias. They're looking specifically for support for their toothpaste. So not collecting data without bias. And so they're doing that for the specific interest of backing up their toothpaste. Okay, 2, I would say there's phrasing bias here. So the phrasing bias comes in because the wording implies that these 4 dentists that recommend our toothpaste don't recommend other toothpaste brands, and we don't know that that's true. So phrasing bias, because the wording implies the four dentists do not recommend any other toothpaste. And that's probably not true because the way that they asked their question didn't allow for them to say if they supported other toothpaste brands.